Okay, so yesterday we started discussing the chassidic explanation of the bracha of Modim, and we briefly mentioned that the word Modim comes from hoda'ah, which has three meanings. It can mean to be thankful, it can mean to praise, and it can mean to accept somebody else's opinion even though you don't understand it. And we said we were going to focus on this third one, and I gave you like a 1 minute elevator pitch of what the explanation would be. But let's talk about it a little bit more in depth, and if you have questions, please let me know. Okay, there's a pasuk in Shmuel Aleph, chapter 2, pasuk 3, that says the following: Al tarbu tedavru gevoya, do not increasingly speak haughtily. Yetze atak mipichem, let not arrogance come from your mouth. Ki kel, I'm going to say it right, ki el deot Hashem, for Hashem is a God of thoughts. Velo nitkenu alilot, and to him are deeds counted. Now the critical part here is this phrase, Ki kel deot Hashem, for the Lord, or for Hashem, is a God of thoughts. Another way to translate it would be because Hashem is a God of perspectives, or points of view. Yeah? And so the Rebbeim explain why this pasuk calls Hashem this way. And if you're just going to call Hashem the God of, we'll call him the God of thought, or the God of perspective. But why in plural? Why is the God of thoughts, or perspectives, or points of view in plural? So when something is in plural, it means there's at least two, right? Because if it's going to be more than two, you better use the number. But if you just tell me plural, I just say it's two, right? So what are the two types of knowledge, or the two types of thought? Because literally de'ot also comes from Daat. Yeah. So what are the two types of knowledge that we have? So there's two types, Daat Elyon and Daat Tachton. The upper level of knowledge and the lower level of knowledge. Yeah? Clear? No, it's not clear. I have to explain what that is. Yeah. Now, from a perspective of Daat Elyon, from the upper level of knowledge, from that perspective, Hashem will know its creations from His real perspective. And what is His real perspective? That He is a yesh amiti. He is a real yesh, a real existence, a real thing. And the creation is ayin, and the creation is nothing. From the perspective of God, He is yesh amiti, a real existence, really the only real existence, and the creation is ayin, nothing. There's the famous word yesh me'ayin, right? Something from nothing. That's how the world was created. But from the perspective of Hashem, He is yesh, and we are ayin, we are nothing. That is Daat Elyon, the upper level of knowledge, or the upper perspective. Daat Tachton, the lower perspective, this is how Hashem views us from our point of view. He's putting Himself in our shoes, where we are the yesh, we exist, and He is ayin. Doesn't mean He is nothing. In this case, ayin means something that I call nothing because I can't understand it. It's beyond my understanding. It's above what I can perceive or relate to. Yeah? So Daat Elyon, He is the yesh, we are the ayin, and this ayin means nothing. Literally nothing. From the Daat Tachton, the lower perspective, We are the yesh, we exist, I can touch, I can feel, yeah? And he is ayin, not because he's nothing, but because he is something we cannot fathom or understand, really. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's clear?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay. So, Kel Deot Hashem, these are the two Deot, Daat Elyon and Daat Tachton. Now, from our perspective, that could be even a third level, where we don't even talk about or recognize Hashem, right? It's a atheist, or just someone who's not paying attention, at least unconsciously. So, what could we reach? We could really reach to get to the level of Daat Tachton. Being able to reach to the level of Daat Elyon, to be able to really see creation in that perspective, where Hashem is the real existence and we don't exist. It doesn't sound like something feasible to really have Da'at, to really understand this. Yeah? Now you could have tzaddikim, very high level souls who do reach a level of Daat Elyon, and they see the world from their perspective as Hashem is everything and the rest is nothing. Yeah? And so from the perspective of those tzaddikim, they perhaps don't have to accept Hashem's opinion. But from our perspective, we have to accept Hashem's opinion. And accept it in a way that we don't understand, which is Modim, which is Hoda'ah, which is what we're doing multiple times during davening, as we'll see. So Modim, we're telling Hashem, Modim anachnu lach. I accept your perspective. I'm even going to bow down, showing how much of a nothing I am. To recognize that you are everything and we are nothing. When we say nothing, we don't mean like 0.5. We mean nothing. And so because this goes completely against what I can perceive, because I can see, I can hear, I can touch, I can smell, I can taste, and this doesn't go with what I'm perceiving. So I have to accept this as Modim. And we accept this as the most valid opinion, as the correct opinion. And as we said, we bow down to accept this. So you could go, for example, to a class. You go to a shir, and the rabbi or the teacher, he's speaking about mystical stuff. Atzilut and Chochma and Bin and Dat and Keter and Adam Kadmon and Sfirot HaGenuzot, and he's throwing out all these terms right and left. And probably some of the people in the class, they are following him, they're understanding what he's saying. There's more echo outside. So some of the people are understanding what he's saying, and hence they agree. They have the same opinion, yeah? But some of the people are like, I have no idea what this guy just said. He said all these Hebrew words, fancy words that I've never heard before, and I have no idea what he's saying. But I respect this guy, and I see these other guys that are agreeing with him, so I'm going to accept that he's right. Not because I understand that he's right, but at least I understand that he's right. I don't understand why he's right, but I understand that he is right. You see the difference? And this acceptance of us being able to accept this reality, Modim, is one of the reasons that the Rebbeim say that we are called Yehudim, because Yehudim come from Hoda'ah, which is Modim, because we are able to accept this. We're able to accept this opinion, because our essence is accepting this opinion. It is in our nature to be able to go above our understanding and accept the divine perspective of Daat Elyon. Yeah? So, Modim anachnu lach, we accept she'atahu Hashem Elokeinu, that you are Hashem our God. Do I know exactly what that means? I don't. But I accept that you're right. Again, we mentioned yesterday that this is the same thing we're doing in Shema. In Shema we don't say Modim, but we are saying Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. You are the only thing that exists. And so we cover our eyes, right? I think I explained this once. Why do we cover our eyes during Shema? No opinion? Why we cover our eyes during the Shema?
Like this, a sheep.
Why? Not how. Why? Everybody's shy. So a lot of people say, it's such an important prayer, you want to concentrate, right? So I want to cover my eyes. Okay, just close your eyes. Why do I need to cover them? You want to concentrate? Okay, close your eyes. Why do you need to cover them? You need to cover them because you're about to say that Hashem is the only thing that exists. But everything in front of my eyes is telling me that that's not true. Right? So I'm going to do a physical act of separating myself from what I can see, from what is going to contradict what I'm going to say, and now I'm going to say Shema with my eyes covered. Yeah? So this is what it means to accept. And again, just to make a couple of important points relating to this, that we are nothing, just in case you're hearing this and say, okay, I'm a nothing, so who cares what I do? Right? If I'm a nothing, if I am, in Spanish you say un cero a la izquierda, a zero to the left. What's a zero to the left? You want zeros to the right. No. To the right of a one, you have money. You have a zero to the left, you have nothing. So if I'm a zero to the left, if I'm a nothing, who cares what I do? Let's stop coming to shul. Let's stop doing it. That's it. I'm a nothing. That's not what it's saying. That's not the point. But what it's saying that we are nothing and Hashem is everything is we are absolutely and undisputably dependent on Hashem. Because Hashem, as the second book of Tanya explains, Shara Yechud B'Emunah, is creating us every single moment, every single millisecond. Hashem is creating us out of nothing, because if not, we would revert back to our natural state of literally not existing. So we are nothing, but the Torah, which is true, says Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, that Hashem created the world, that Hashem created the heavens and the earth. So somehow we exist even though we are nothing, and we owe every ounce of our existence to Hashem, and Hashem has the reasons for us being here. So I need to execute. I need to go and do what I'm supposed to do here. And even though I'm a nothing, I am not a zero to the left. I am totally and absolutely a zero to the right of a number. Right? I absolutely matter. But I absolutely matter in this completely dependent way of Hashem, because He's creating me every single moment. Me and you and the table and everybody in the world, even the people you don't like. even politicians you don't like, even leaders of countries that are waging war or killing people. Somehow Hashem has a purpose for them while they're still here. Because He's creating each and every one of them every single second. So to be a nothing, first of all, it's a real avodah, it's a real service. And it doesn't mean it doesn't matter what we do. Like, we're just learning a mimer called Heichaltzu with two other guys from Shul. And it talks about the concept of bitul, talks about the concept of nullifying yourself. But it says, when you finally nullify yourself, when you finally can feel like Hashem is everything and I am nothing, you might start feeling proud. If you learn chassidut, you learn over and over again the advantage of bitul, the advantage of nullifying yourself. So maybe finally one day you achieve it. Says, wow, I'm a nothing. Wow, good job. You might even start feeling proud of yourself. Yeah. Which is why they say the joke. There was once a chassidic shul, and somebody comes in to pray, and he sees that there's some guy sitting in a room, and they're saying, I'm a nothing, I'm a nothing, I'm a nothing. And the other guy is saying, I'm a nothing, I'm a nothing, I'm a nothing. Huh? Yo soy nada. Listen to the story. I'm a nothing, I'm nothing. I just explained what nothing means. Being nothing, being a zero. So this new guy comes in, and he wants to fit in. So he sits down next to them, and he starts saying, I'm a nothing, I'm a nothing, I'm a nothing. And the other two guys turn to each other and says, this guy thinks now he's a nothing. You have to work for it. You can't just come in, oh, now you're nothing. You're not a nothing. We're nothing. We worked hard to be nothing. Anyways, Modim, anachnu lach, we are accepting Hashem's opinion about being a nothing. Okay, I extended myself a lot on that. Is this clear? Do you have any questions? This is not an easy thing to accept.
Actually, it's quite clear.
It is quite clear. Because you know a lot of stuff. So. Jaime looks like he has
At zero.
He's at zero. I'll just say one last thing, because the next part is too long to do now. Modim is the only bracha that has a special alternative reading, right? When the Chazan is saying Modim, and he gets to Modim, what do? We say another Modim. There's another paragraph next to Modim that starts Modim, Modim anach lulach, but it's a different text, right? Can you open me the text, please? Thank you. It's just be a short point. Modim anach lulach she'atah Hashem Elokeinu v'Elokei Avoseinu. Says this second Modim ends. So it starts Modim anach lulach and ends Al she'ainu Modim lach baruch kelaodaot. We thankfully acknowledge that you are Hashem our God, and it finishes again. For we thankfully acknowledge you. And so this Modim, this second Modim, is if you're not ready to acknowledge that Hashem is right, because we said there might be a class where some people understand the class and they agree. Some people, it flew over their heads, but at least they agree that you're right. But you might even have someone who's not even at the level to agree that you're right, but he can agree to agree. He can be at a lower level. I accept that I have to accept that you're right. So if we're not at the level of accepting that Hashem is right, we can at least be in the next level of the alternative paragraph, of I accept that I need to accept. At least that I can accept. Okay, we should have an amazing
1 second.
davening.
1 second.
2 seconds.